So that's all I can do from there. And so there we go. I've just picked up as much science as I could from the current science instruments I have. Got me another 33 points. Again, in order to make aircraft, I need this one at a minimum just to make a basic aircraft. But if I really want to make one that can get over 10,000 feet and complete those other objectives, I really need this as well, because I'll need LV909. The only engine you get early on here is this Juno basic engine. It like stalls out once you get over about 8,500 feet. It just isn't capable of going any higher. But you can supplement that by putting a rocket on board and stuff too. So I guess we'll get general rocketry here, and then I'm looking to accumulate about 90, well, at least close to 80 to get both of these as soon as possible. I've got all the max contracts. I've bought all the science that I can. So it is time again to take a look at the contracts and decide what kind of craft to do this time. Alright, so again, just hauling a radial mount chute, that's not really a problem. The problem will be making sure I get those speeds. This is kind of high speed for that altitude. I'll have to keep that in mind. Radial mount. Oh, these are going to really conflict each other. They're both haul, but this one I need to be going 270 minimal. But in this one I can't be above 210. But it hits at a... They both hit about 4,000. Like, it's conceivable you could be going about... This would be so hard to perfect, but going 210-ish right when you hit 4,000. And then once you've got that one, then speed up. And hopefully you could get over 270 before you get to 9,000. I suppose that's possible. It's going to take some real precision flying. This one again, this thumper at high altitude, that's going to take a damn long time to do. Haul a LVT-45, that's not too bad. Oh, this is that one again, the speeds. This is even more insane speeds. I don't know how you're going to get 600 meters per second in the first 4,000 feet unless you're just building like a death rocket. Suborbital, okay, so the only things I can really get right now are these parachute ones, and that's fine. Let's think about now that I've got the thermometers, I might want to make another short flight splashdown and get a reading from the water. Also, I didn't have the Science Junior on the first flight, so I could get a Science Junior reading from the water as well. I've already gotten one at the pad and in flight and landed. Yes, I only need one Science Junior then for this. And then all the different chutes that are going to be required. At least they're not like having to be activated in flight, because that makes it a lot harder. It's just haul them. And then it was this one, this rogue drow chute or whatever. Drogue. Right, and radial mount. Okay. Oops, I don't want two of those. I mean, it'll be a little asymmetrical, but it's not a real big problem. It's too light to affect it. I'm gonna hide it back there. I just have to haul it. In fact, let's put that one on its own. I'm not even gonna activate this one if I can help it, so it's gonna be the very last stage after I've activated these. Okay. And we're gonna need a decoupler. Don't need a heat shield yet. Alright, so I have to think now about if I'm going to need any science or how many thermometers. I've gotten the goo canister at the pad, I've gotten it in flight, and I've gotten it in the water, so I shouldn't need any for this at all. I will need thermometers though. I've gotten thermometer at the pad. I'll need one thermometer for in flight. There's multiple biomes, so I'll need in flight over grasslands, and another one for in flight over water, and finally one for in the water. So I'll need 3 thermometers to get the maximum I can. And I could put them on with symmetry, but I actually like to have them all in the front, so it's easy to see them. they also won't affect the weight balance too much. Maybe they'll counter the balance difference that's created by that drag chute, if anything. I don't think it really matters, though. So I gotta think about, I need to be going up slowly again. And I don't need to have the extra side things. I'm just gonna take a RT10. I'm gonna put chutes on this as well, because I'm gonna try to recover this stage at the end, as I've been doing. Again, kind of trying to min-max it. So based on how it was going last time, I'm gonna guess that I could probably start out at 50% thrust limit. We'll fire that engine first, and when we decouple from here, we decouple from there and take both of these chutes, then ultimately fire these chutes, and then ultimately the drogue chute, if it was actually needed, will be in the last stage. Everyone's had a go now, so I'll start to cycle back over. We'll go back to Valentina here. I'm not sure if she's going to really gain anything out of it, but I like to rotate through people. Is there anything else that I can do or need on this right now? I got the unused mono propellant again, and this electricity charge warning is just telling me that these require electricity, but I'm not going to be... they don't use that much, and I'm going to be generating electricity in flight as well, so I don't really need batteries yet or anything. Don't also probably need fins or anything like that. This should be good enough. It's just a question of whether or not I'm calculating right about how much thrust I need. I really need to be going... I want to be going only like 200 at most when I hit 4,000. And then still have room to speed up before I hit 9,000. So I think I might even want to go lower than 50. I don't know. Because I had the other ones going... Let's try 50 first. I guess I can revert. I just would love to hit it on the first try. Alright, so again, this is a flight where we're going to try to get out over the water. I'm going to need a Science Junior from the water, and I'm going to need in flight over the grasslands, in flight over the water, and in the water. As far as crew reports, I've already gotten them from the pad. I guess this would be a time where I could get the one in flight over Kerbal shores, and then still do some other, yeah, we'll do that. Okay. So let's bring this up. First things first, I have to make sure that I actually pull these off. So let's look at this one first. Oh, my speed is way too high. I was right. I should have put it much, 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 much lower. Let's just do that right away. And if I put this up on my channel later, I might cut some of the fails. If you're seeing this right now, I did a few restarts trying to fine-tune myself to be able to complete both of these objectives. And I needed a craft that would climb very slowly so that I could only be going around 200 as I broke 4,000, but still have a chance to get up to over 270 before 9,000 feet. I'm trying to complete both of these objectives at once, and done a couple things at it here. I feel like I'm pretty close. I got crew reports over and temperature over the grasslands. I'm still going to need temperature and crew report over the water. Alright, there we got that one. Now we just need the speed to still make it up to 270. I don't know if it's going to happen. It's going to be so close. Look at that, fuel's almost gone. Yes! There we go. Completed both objectives. Okay. I can go ahead and ditch that stage right away. Very nice. Okay, so log temperature. It's still over Kerbal shores, so we have to wait until we're out over the water. And I want to get a crew report over the water, but I can't do that until I can EVA and take the old one and put the new one back, as I've showed before. So I'm going to end up waiting until I'm flying on my chute at the lowest speed, do an EVA, get an EVA report flying over Kerbin's water, take and store the data, go back in, then I can get the crew report flying over Kerbin's water, and then I should have everything. So I'm looking to see, okay, here we go. Now I'm getting the temperature over the water. So I've got the temperature over the grasslands, temperature over the water, and this will be temperature in the water, and this will be open this in the water as well. So at this point I can go ahead and open the chutes. And begin the casual descent. I'm glad I was able to complete those objectives this time. Took about 4 reverts to fine-tune the engine to the right. If you didn't get to see the numbers, I ended up having the engine at about 27.5 thrust and almost full, and that gave me just the right, with the weight I had, just the right lift to achieve both of those at the same time. Okay, so chute's gonna open in a second. I'm not speeding up because I have to do some things still, and I want to make sure that I get them done before we hit the water. Alright, chute is open, and I'm now going at a slow speed, so now I can EVA. Get the EVA report flying over Kerbin's water. Take and store the data. Get back in and get the crew report from flying. I guess I did get the one flying over Kerbin's water already. Okay, but that's what I was trying to do in the last flight. I could have got both the Kerbin shores and Kerbin's grasslands in the last flight. Not a big deal. I'll go ahead real quick, and I don't even think this is going to work because it's experiments I already have. Okay, so now I just need to splash down. This one's going to be a tough one, man. 43,000 to 49. That's a very tight window and a slowish speed for that height. And this one, again, a very low altitude and an insanely high speed to accomplish that one. And this I have to be like well in high orbit. Probably can go for escape the atmosphere and orbit Kerbin on one of the next flights though. Even without doing any of the upgrades initially. You can put together a basic orbiter that will work on a level 1 pad and level 1 space facility. So, alright, I need to get a temperature report from the water and a science junior report from the water. Is there anything else? I mean, I should just double check. Yeah, I've already got the crew report. I've already got the EVA and stuff, so that should be all I can get. And I'm back up to 51 science. Nice. So that is going to allow me to buy one more, one of these two. It's a question of which one I want to go for first. Again, getting this aviation branch opened will allow me to make a basic aircraft, but it really won't fly much higher than about 8,500 meters. So it's not going to be ideal for some of those missions that I have, some of those contracts. Unless I can also get advanced rocketry so I can put a better engine on it. I'm going to need both ultimately. You know, before I make the decision, why don't we take a look at what new things have popped up. Oh, I have Test LV909 Terrier liquid fuel engine now available, which means that the engine is available for me to use. So that defeats that other concern. So, okay, I'll have to carry a decoupler or two. Which one is this one? Rocco Max brand. Alright, we'll just grab this. This is unfortunate. I need to grab this in order to get the engine, but I won't have any room left because of active contracts. Still, I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to be trying to do these. Ooh, this one's going to expire in 5 hours, so I want to see if I can grab that on my next mission. 250 grand. Oh, there's one thing before I forget. When I'm going to be doing an aircraft, I like to upgrade the runway right away. I'll knock that out right away because it makes it a lot easier to take off. The default runway is very bumpy. My next two upgrades will be the landing pad and the vehicle assembly building, but I can wait on that still for a little bit. So at this point, I have to decide what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be able to get that objective. Test a Rockomax brand decoupler. Which one is that? Yeah, this one you... Oh, come on, landed? So I have to, like, land somewhere and then fire this. Like, it'd probably be best to do it in the water. But, wow. Or I could just go for the, go for an orbit. This is too high to use that engine. Yeah, you know, since all I have left, I'm just gonna build a basic orbit ship here. I'll show you the way I do it. I'm gonna stick with the extra parachutes, although I probably do not need them. I'm not gonna take pretty much any science stuff except maybe some thermometers, because this design requires me to fly it pretty carefully and accurately in order to make it... I don't want a Science Junior, what am I doing? In order to make it into orbit. And so if I've got to spend too much time trying to think about, do I do a goo container now, like at different altitudes, it's going to make it a little... We're just going to focus on getting it into orbit and completing a successful orbit. Alright, so the way I normally would do this would be, at this stage, I wish I had the FL 400 tanks. I'm going to go with a 200 there and an LV 909. This is going to be the final stage, which will give me my last little push into orbit and allow me to maneuver in orbit to slow myself down to come back down. I'm not even going to worry about parachutes and stage recovery here. We're just going to make this a basic orbiter. So I'll need a decouple there. Now normally this part I would use 2 of the 400 tanks, so I'll have to use 4 of these. And that's going to have an LV T45. Right, it's 2 FLT 400s, so that'd be 4 FLT 200s. Those are FLT 200s, right? Yeah. And then that's going to be the stage that's going to get me from the upper atmosphere to near orbit. And then this would normally be 3 of the 400 tanks, which I don't have, so I have to use 6 of these. Wow. This is going to end up pushing the part limit as well because of that, but there's other ways you can do it with boosters and stuff too, but I've done this a bunch of times and it works really well for me, so... And there we go, the LVT-30 engine. This seems taller than it would be using the 400 tanks. I hope that's going to be okay. Alright, so we'll fire this engine first, then when we decouple from there, then this engine, and then decouple, and then this engine, and then it'll... No, that's a mistake. I still have a drogue chute on here, we don't need that. Fire this engine, and then the final decouple, and then fire the parachutes. And it's going to be Jebediah's turn to try to do this orbit. This is uglier than sin. It looks a lot better with the 400 tanks, and I feel like it's taller than it was when I did it with the 400 tanks. It goes up very, very, very slowly, but it gets out of the upper atmosphere. It gets in the upper atmosphere at just the right speed, as long as everything works the way it was when I tested it earlier. Hey, Met, how you doing? Met Amy, I forget how to say it. How are you doing? Sure you can hear in my voice that I'm still very congested. Alright, so like I said, our only objective here is just to get to orbit. So I'm going to get everything set up here. I like to have this set up so I can watch my ascent. Alright, let's try this. We're going to go just straight up through the whole first stage. And my goal is that I will reach about 10,000 to 12,000 meters by the time the stage runs out and be going somewhere around 300 meters per second. So I may even slow down a little if we're getting close to that while we're still in the lower atmosphere, where the atmosphere is the thickest and there's the most drag against your ship. It's more fuel efficient if you're going through the lower atmosphere at about 250 to 300 meters per second. At least according to Scott Manley. Everything's looking good so far. Nice straight ascent. This could have been a lot easier with boosters and stuff. It always looked more elegant with, I would have 2 400 tanks and 3 400 tanks down here. But this should be okay. So our speed here, again, you see we're in like the 250 range as we're getting through the thickest part of the atmosphere. I'm actually going to slow down just a little bit. Try to keep it right around 300 here until we get over about 12,000. Burn off that last bit of fuel. Shoot that stage off and select the next stage. I'm going to start turning over slowly, but I don't want to turn too much because without fins this thing could start flipping. And now I'm going to switch to the map view to watch here. Your objective at this point is to turn over a little bit slowly, but watching your apoapse. Your apoapsis is the highest point of your trajectory. I want to keep burning the engine until that is over, well, what space level is. Space is 70,000. I'm probably going to go to about 80. Because the way you do an orbit is you're moving, you know, around the planet. You're kind of falling around the planet, but the planet is falling away. The ground is falling away under you at the same rate, so you're just constantly falling a loop around the planet. So there we go. I killed the engine now to save fuel, and my apoapse is going to be 85,000 meters. Now, in order to get to orbit from there, I'm going to want to burn along the horizon. It'll be basically the prograde or retrograde marker. Right now it's pointing in a different place, but as I get closer, it will start to level out. I'm going to go ahead and line myself up here for the burn that's upcoming, but I don't want to do this burn until I'm very close to the apoapsis. So I got everything lined up. Let's speed time up until we're really close. And we've just entered space. You know, I forgot about getting those different thermostat readings. I might be able to get some of those on the way down, though. Again, I had to be sure that I was focused on flying this thing more than anything. Alright. It's time to bring the throttle back up here. Now you'll see that the it is spreading. That's going to spread into an orbit, ultimately, is the idea. So we just keep burning. How much fuel have we got left on this stage? I want to see that. Okay. And you're not actually going where you're pointing as much as where this yellow is the thing you're trying to steer. And it's falling a little below the horizon, so I'm going to bring it up a little to try to drag this marker a little higher to make sure that I'm going the right height. And there, we just burned that stage out, so I'm going to disengage it and fire my last stage. And this is the one that's going to push me into orbit and should still hopefully have enough fuel left for me to maneuver and land safely. Hello, Snickle Fritz and Metame. I'm sorry I haven't looked at the chat for a little bit because I'm doing something rather complex here. In fact, to save fuel, now that my apoapsis is getting away from me, I'm going to cut again real quick and speed up till I'm a little closer. It's most efficient if you're doing your burn. You know, if I had like the conic tools enabled, I'd be able to like plan it better, but I'm just having to do this by eye. I'm just trying to, as efficiently as possible, get this orbit established, and we're getting pretty close. In fact, let's be efficient again. I'll stop the engine there and speed up till I'm a little closer, trying to do these burns right at the apoapsis as much as possible. And I think this is going to do it this time. I should probably... I got enough fuel. Alright, let's see, where are we at? Okay, keep burning until... No, wait. Okay. I'm going to be efficient again. It's still not high enough for a complete orbit. I'm going to get much closer to the apoapsis one more time. Burn a little more. This is... Again, you'll see, like I said, I planned this out. It's just enough fuel. I'll have just enough to slow down in the end. Okay, let's start thrusting again. Oh, I'm not pointed the right way. Whoops, that was a big mistake. I was not paying attention to that. I had to be pointing at the prograde marker. And you can check that when you're looking in this, you know, the direction you're going. I want to basically be thrusting in the direction I'm going. Let's get that going. And we want to get this up over 80. Okay, perfect. Boom. I still have some fuel left. Okay. If you're not familiar with flight mechanics, your apoapsis is the highest point of your orbit, and your periapsis is the lowest point of your orbit. Now, as long as the periapsis is in space, it's an orbit. So actually, if I go and look now, escape the atmosphere completed, and achieve orbit is completed. So at this point, I could already just come right back down. And I may want to come down pretty quickly because that one contract expired in 5 hours, and I don't necessarily want to do like a bunch of orbits and waste too much time and lose out in that contract, so... But yeah, there we go. I have achieved an orbit. I guess we'll do one complete orbit. So I'll just go ahead and speed time up here, and I can show you a little bit about how some of the flight maneuvering works in order to change these numbers. For example, this is obviously not a circular orbit, it's higher at this end. Well, you can adjust your periapsis and apoapsis by burning at the opposite side. So for example, if I wanted to bring the apoapsis down or make it higher, I'd want to do my burn at my periapsis. If I burn at my periapsis prograde, meaning if I am increasing my speed of the orbit forward, the apoapsis will go up. If I turn retrograde, so that when I'm firing my engine, I'm slowing down my progress, the apoapsis comes down. And it's the same here. If I'm at the apoapsis, I can adjust the periapsis that way. So what I'll do here first is I'm going to line myself up retrograde, and I'm going to get close to the periapsis, and I'm going to do a slight burn to bring the... I'm going to try to circularize the orbit. I think I have enough fuel left that I can dick around a little bit here. And then when we get back around the apoapsis, we'll just concentrate on bringing it down safely. So I'm just trying to get close to the periapsis here, and I got to make sure I'm pointing the right way. I made that mistake last time. Alright, I'm just going to give a little bit of a burn. Now you can see as I burn, it's coming down, the apoapsis here. And I want to get it down to like maybe 80 or so. How about 99? And I'm going to get a little closer again, do more burn right at the periapsis as much as I can. Yeah, I know about the F5 save, thank you. I'm pretty confident I'm going to be able to get this down safely. I'm going to get that down a little more. Okay, so you can see that's pretty close. That's getting close to circular. Now my apoapsis is 88,000 meters and my periapsis is 83,000 meters. So but I don't have a lot of fuel left. I want to make sure I have enough to slow down ultimately. So let's take a little bit of a scenic look at the orbit in progress here. I can't zoom out much better, like it just makes the ship a lot smaller, but you get a good look at... I could be starting to get some of these science things, couldn't I? I forgot about that. Let's rotate the ship like this. Oh, I forgot to put the thermostats on. Okay, well, you know what? That's fine. Like I said, my objective here was just to get a successful orbit. I wasn't concerned about the science and other things on this particular flight. I knew the ship was going to be hard to fly and be leaving me very little room for error, so I just wanted to get a successful orbit.